Hello and welcome to this BJJ rolling analysis. This was a competition match in Milton Keynes on, I guess, 28th of October 2023. It's the lightweight blue belt division Masters 2. I'm the guy in the blue, and my game plan for both matches are actually pretty similar. So I was always trying to immediately get the grips, don't mess around, pull guard, either end up in closed guard, go from there, or end up in open guard, which was my favorite. And then work some sweeps and go from there. So that was my game plan. And as we jump right into it, I don't fool around too much, get the grips, get the hooks, end up in kind of like this open guard configuration, bit of a fighting going on, cameraman falling asleep, come right up, we've ended up my favorite position. I was practicing a lot tripod sweep into sickle sweep, and then also throwing in a few De La Riva back takes. And throughout this match, you'll see that this guy is unsweepable. I also did a lot of mistakes, but it was literally the battle of sweeps. I was so determined and stubborn. And I was always alternating between the tripod sweep, sickle sweep, De La Riva back take, that I didn't really consider any other option. So if I stop here in just a second, maybe at like 46 seconds before I go into the De La Riva back take. So my game plan, which I drilled a lot, was really just pulling guard, going to this open guard configuration. And then, yeah, like I said, try to do the tripod sweep. And what ended up happening a lot in this match is the opponent always pulled back his right leg. So the leg that I was cupping with my hand, he always stepped out. And that made me transition to the sickle sweep, where I switched the grips from kind of like this cross grip to the same side grip, and then swing my body around and then grab with the free hand, the right hand, his left leg, and kind of like use this alternating motion between the tripod sweep and the sickle sweep to get something to work. But I didn't control either of those legs very well, also in the De La Riva back take that you see in a second. That was my number one issue, right? That he always kept pulling back his right leg. So if I actually look at how the pros do it, for example, our best buddy Giancarlo Bodoni, we can see, if I bring up the video, that he explains exactly the same issue, right? And the funny thing is, I've watched this video like weeks before the competition as I was practicing it, but it just completely escaped my mind during the competition. So he shows the same issue of he cups the leg, but he can still step back or sidewards. So you essentially lose the grip that you need for like a good sweep. And what he does is just he scoops his butt onto it, and that keeps the foot in place. So that makes it way easier to then transition into the other stuff. So yeah, I should have done that. And that was the issue number one, right? That would have fixed the issue of him pulling back his forward leg or his right leg. The other issue was that as I was transitioning, it took a lot of time because I was changing grips from kind of like this cross grip to his sleeve to the same side. I was angling my body, circling around, grabbing his other leg then. And there is a more efficient, quicker way where I'll show the video in a second of one of my favorite people on the planet to watch, Roy Dean, where it kind of like keeps the same grips, he just switches his leg configuration, and it makes sense in a second, right? But I think that would have been a second amazing improvement to be quicker and more efficient in doing the sweeping motion, right? So this is how it should have looked like, the tripod sweep, end up in beautiful side control, score the points, right? And then the same issue, he steps out his leg, for example, right? He keeps the same grip, and then he just switches his leg configuration. That would have saved a lot of time, I think, right? Let's just continue the video. So a bit of a De La Riva back take, but again, see, he's always escaping the legs. It's literally impossible. And I think I'm trying to go for another De La Riva. No, like by this time, like after 1 minute, he figured out my game plan, right? It was super obvious. He did a great job of just, exactly countering it. We sometimes end up in a position where, just pause at 116. It's funny, like after the match, he told me, you play the game on bottom that I play. So he knew what's going on. But I just very recently watched a few videos from I'm gonna butcher his name, but Mikey Musumeci, that Italian American guy, I don't know, like super amazing person. And after watching a few of his videos, it actually made a lot of sense of what I could have done here as well, because what Mikey always talks about is sort of like those three boxes. So you have like the box of attacking and submissions, you have the second box of sweeps, and then the third one around taking the back, or flanking to get around him. And usually if one person defends box 1, you can go to box 2. If you defend box 1 and 2, you can go to the third box, and you're almost alternating between whatever the opponent gives you. You attempt a sweep that opens up some space for attacks, he defends the attacks, maybe that opens up another sweep, or he angles his body that shuts down at box 1 and 2, but you can go for box 3. And I was 99% obsessed with just the second box of sweeping. So I didn't really utilize any of that very well. If I have time, I might include just a little bit of a snippet from Mikey, but that was one of the biggest thing. That was just too focused on the sweeps. And the second thing, I forgot what I want to say. Yeah, I can't remember. But literally, it's just I was too stubborn on just making those sweeps work. So let me just continue the video. Trying to pull him in, maybe doing a hip bump sweep or something. Yeah, that's my. That was really good. I was checking the scoreboard and the timing, how much time is left, which is something I didn't do in the first 2 competitions. So I was really happy to see, I didn't lose any points, there's no surprises. Trying to go up to higher guard, or high guard, whatever you call it. Taking a breath and just thinking, oh God, how am I surviving the next 4 minutes? I couldn't really get in there trying to hip bump sweep, but it was too low. Not even sure where my hand was. Again, trying to climb up the legs to make it more difficult to stand up. And then eventually I thought, maybe I can just... yeah, he almost passed my guard, but that's also something I drilled into my brain of him not letting go to side control, rather go to turtle. I defend decently, he just scored the advantage. And this, let me just stop at 213. This is something I do a lot, which I have no idea if it's a proper technique or if it's just a rookie move, but I found it really helpful to hook in my upper leg, kind of like my right leg, and then use this as a hook to just flip him over and gain a bit of space. So if I just continue, we end up in this situation where I flipped him over enough to bring in my other leg, and then we end up again in my collar sleeve. And again, let me just pause at 224. Again, rewatching this, it just shows me that I'm too stubborn on getting the sweep. For example, like his arm is like fully extended, and we're kind of like square. So, I could have done something else rather than just going for the sweep. I could have come up a bit more, pull him in and then maybe go for some triangle or something. But it was just, sweep, 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 and it didn't really work out too well. So let me just continue. Trying the, scissor sweep, I guess. Did a good job of being on my left bum, and that gives me a lot of range of motion for my right leg to put it on his collarbone or other stuff. Briefly thought about a triangle, but not a good position. I was hoping to go for another scissor sweep. Yep, and again he's basing too much. He's defending really well. Trying to push him over to my left, going for a second De La Riva back take. And this is how it should have looked, right? Let me just let it play out. Yeah, so his far leg was completely free. So that's another thing that I want to improve. Let me just bring up Felipe Pena. So he, again, I think the theme of the day is being stubborn on the sweeps, not going for attacks, and also not controlling the legs as I'm sweeping or attempting to sweep. So what he does is he gets the De La Riva hook in, and then look what he does with his hand. So I was immediately going to the belt, as opposed to Felipe going to the far leg, controlling it, and then going for the belt and pulling me in. So he had way better control of keeping this far leg. And if you don't control the far leg, they just walk away. So that was denied, curling up a little bit, making it difficult for him to pass the guard, end up in this kind of like half guard thing, trying to frame in a way, probably trying to go square again. Yep. And I wouldn't be surprised if I was going for another sweep again. It's just same. And this is funny. This is where I thought, oh, did I pass out? Why did he stop us? I didn't absolutely register it, because the last time the referee stopped me, like a year ago for the previous Milton Keynes ones, I got choked out unconscious and got submitted. So when I woke up, I didn't understand why the ref was looking at me. So yeah, I was lost for a second and I thought I passed out again, but everything turned out fine. Just out of bounds, out of the mats. Again, same, not really spicing it up. And by this time it was just like less than a minute left. So I think this, yeah, again, he knows I'm going for the sweep, spacing out brilliantly. And then I think I'm going for some kind of either triangle or closed guard. I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. And by the way, the funny thing is it's the same referee as exactly last year. So yeah, that was actually good. So I was going for triangle, but it wasn't a good spot. You already know it's not a good spot. If the initial leg, that the bite isn't really there, it was kind of like across his face. So I knew it wasn't a threat for him. And then again, he was going for turtle. By that time, it's just 20 seconds left. He looks at the watch. This is like brilliant, right? And then he just lifts me up and tries to get his hooks in. And initially I thought that you score points for back take if you get the hooks in and the upper body control. But it turns out I watched the official IBJJF rules. You don't need the upper body controls. You don't need any hooks on top. You just need the 2 legs in. So if you get it for 3 seconds, you score the points, as he did. And I was more fighting the upper body and the chokes, because I thought, oh, if he just gets the bottom legs in, it's probably fine. But yeah, I didn't know the rules and scored the points, 4 points, and that's it. Let me just stop the video. So for this first one, let me just go to a nicer frame. Let's go to the beginning and pause there. So things that went well. I pulled guard. I followed my game plan. I did the stuff I was really comfortable with. I didn't really feel too exhausted during the match. I was dead tired afterwards, but I had my game plan. I followed it to the letter. Things I could have done better is controlling the legs when going for the scissors, the tripod sweep. Not doing the quickest, most efficient transition from the tripod sweep to the sickle sweep. Not controlling the leg when going for the Riva back take. So I prioritized the belt as opposed to the leg, the far leg, and grabbing it. I was not alternating between those different boxes, as Mikey would have said. Instead of going from submission attack to sweep attack to back take, I was 99% just doing sweep attempts. And I also didn't change the positions. I was too focused on the grips I need for my tripod and sickle sweep. I didn't really go to like a spider guard briefly, or a bit of a, I don't know, different variations of open guard. So it was a bit more, it was too predictable, I guess. And yeah, that's it. But overall, I felt really, it was a good match. It was definitely the best match I've had so far. Now the second one, let me play the video. Again, same game plan, get the grips, don't fool around, pull guard, end up in close guard or open guard, don't really care. Secure the position. I go to close guards, bit of a hand fight going on. I was really practicing more of hand fights, right? I don't want this guy to have any grips. And my go-to is always this cross collar grip, because I think it's almost always there. It's a good thing to pull him down, control the position, and just either attempt a cross collar choke, or you're already halfway there for collar sleeve. Going for a nice hip bump sweep. Let me get that sweep. I was working so hard. I was like so stubborn. And yeah, let me just pause here for like 40 seconds. So I was really forcing that hip bump sweep. And again, it wasn't the most efficient thing, right? And that's something, again, the theme of the day is just forcing those sweeps. That comes to shine again, because I was doing it again, right? I was going for the hip bump sweep. I want to get those points. I was exhausted. I just want to pull in that hand and get it done. And it would have been more efficient because his hand was so extended to kind of like, you know, just check at the triangle study from Roy Dean again, just to do a bit more of how more efficient he could have done, right? So I go for the sweep, he extends his arm, and that I could have used to kind of like put my leg on there, float a little bit on him, and then place the leg around, right? Because he posts his hand, there's a lot of space, so I can move my leg around and then connect with his neck. That would have been a smoother transition, rather than brute forcing the submission. Let me just continue. Rather than brute forcing the submission, so I got the 2 points for the sweep, 4 for the mount. And I knew if I get to mount, I'm probably in a good spot because again, it's one of the few positions I can hold fairly well. So it's being really low, always scooping up the leg because it's like a worse position if he doesn't have the arms to move around. And if the arms are on his upper body and then above his head, it's like a way worse position for him. I was hoping to just choke him out, just being flat on his face with his old sweaty, disgusting gi that he just doesn't want to be bothered with it, but he was a bit stubborn as well. And I was holding it, but I was also doing a little bit of stuff. I tried, I think, like an Americana at some point, just trying to do something and not be too boring and lying onto him and waiting 4 minutes to end the match. And for some reason, yeah, trying to push down the arm, essentially just freaking the person out and making the person move even more. So I was more trying to drain energy. And then a really stupid thing happened where I looked up and I lifted my upper body at some point. I think fairly soon I lift up my body and I watch up and he just reverses the roles. So he flips me over, like, I think here. Yeah, like, I don't know why I looked up and kind of like arched my back. End up in close guard, which I think is okay. Again, it's one of my favorite positions. I get the hook, the hand in, and then I'm really proud because normally I'm just going for like, I try to drill good techniques. But I was remembering the voice of a black belt that just said, in a competition, you can't be nice. You just need to, you know, you get a grip and you can't get the perfect choke. Just go across his face and be a bit more mean and use prison rules. And I was happy to do it because normally I wouldn't have done the grip. And yeah, I normally would have gone for a different route. But because I already got the first hand in and if I just wanted the match to end, I kind of like just went across his face, which wasn't very nice. I apologize, but that's kind of like competition rules. So in this match, it was a bit better in terms of controlling the opponent, getting the choke, getting the submission, which felt nice. I was a bit too stubborn again with the submission, with the sweep. I could have attempted the triangle, but yeah, maybe in this situation it was the right one. So overall, just a few general considerations, independent of those two matches. I think it went way better than the last 3 competitions. I warmed up way better. I felt a bit more prepared in terms of game plan. I was doing the game plan that I was comfortable with. I did an experiment. I feel like I could dictate the game a little bit, which is positive. And yeah, negative things, I think I talked about it already a few times. But yeah, it was overall a good competition. I really enjoyed it. The first competition that I felt good about. And I'll definitely try a few more competitions in the future and hopefully share a few more learnings in the future as well. Thank you guys and speak to you next time. Bye.